Psalm 23. You probably know the words by heart. For centuries, this has been like a warm blanket for the soul, a whisper of hope when things get dark. It's easily one of the most beloved passages in all of Scripture, a source of just deep, gentle comfort for millions of people.
And it's not just us who feel that way. The great preacher Charles Spurgeon, he had this perfect name for it, the nightingale of the Psalms. I mean, that just captures it, doesn't it? It feels like a peaceful song for the soul, promising us those green pastures and still waters.
But what if that's only half the story? What if we've missed something big? What if, hiding right under the surface of this beautiful lullaby, there's something tougher, something more challenging? A truth that suggests this isn't just a song of comfort, but a warrior's anthem.
Okay, so let's dig into that idea. We're going to start by looking at the shepherd's very first action, which we find in verse 3. You know, most Bibles say, "He leads me in paths of righteousness." Sounds gentle, right? But the original language, well, it has a surprising twist.
A pastor named Rich Bitterman points something out about the original Hebrew. The word used there is naha. And yeah, it can mean a gentle leading, but often it means something much more forceful, like being driven or pushed or even impelled down a certain path. And right there, you see these two totally different pictures of God's guidance. On one hand, you've got the one we all know and love, peace, rest, quietness. But this other view? It's disruptive. It suggests the shepherd might actually propel you into hardship, maybe even shove you onto paths you would never pick for yourself, all for the sake of his glory. And this tension, this idea of being pushed, it doesn't let up. In fact, it takes us right into the most famous part of the whole psalm, the valley. Now, we usually hear this verse at funerals, right? We think it's about the moment we die. But as Pastor Bitterman argues, David probably wasn't just talking about dying. I mean, think about it. There are valleys in life, a betrayal, a deep depression, a crushing loss that can feel so much worse than death itself. And Charles Spurgeon, he really paints a picture of what this valley feels like. He describes it as a place of just extreme gloom, total darkness. It's full of hidden dangers, things you can't see coming. And it's mysterious. You have no idea why you're there or what's happening. But maybe the worst part? That feeling of being completely and utterly alone. But here's a brilliant insight from Spurgeon. He points out that the text doesn't say the valley of death. It says the valley of the shadow of death. And what can a shadow actually do to you? Nothing. The shadow of a sword can't cut you, the shadow of a dog can't bite you, and you know what else? For there to even be a shadow, there has to be a light shining from somewhere.
So, what's the solution to all that fear and darkness and loneliness in the valley? It's so simple, but it's the most powerful line in the whole psalm. It's not a promise that you'll get out of it quickly. It's the promise of presence. For thou art with me. That's it. That's the whole game. That's the anchor.
Okay, so the story keeps building from here. After this intense journey through the dark valley, you'd think the shepherd would just get you to a safe house, right? Let you catch your breath? Nope, he throws a full-on victory banquet. And think about what it means to eat in enemy territory. You're probably picturing a soldier, quickly scarfing down a ration, looking over their shoulder. But that is not the picture David paints here, not even close.
This whole thing is an act of defiance. First, the table is prepared. That's deliberate. It's unhurried. This isn't survival food. Then, it's set right there in the presence of my enemies. He makes them watch. You're anointed with oil, like an honored guest at a feast. And your cup, it's overflowing. It's lavish. See, every single part of this isn't about just getting by. It's about declaring total victory.
And this powerful, active role of the shepherd, it doesn't stop at the banquet table. It carries us all the way to the end of the psalm. So, David writes, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me." Spurgeon has this beautiful image for it. He pictures them as twin guardian angels, always at your back like a personal escort. And that's a really comforting thought, isn't it?
But here comes Pastor Bitterman again with a much more aggressive take. He points out that the original word for follow can also mean to pursue, to chase. So his idea is that God's goodness and mercy aren't just casually trailing behind you. No, they are actively hunting you down. Just let that sink in for a second. It means that even when you're running from God, even when you're fighting Him every step of the way,
His goodness and His mercy are in hot pursuit. They are relentlessly chasing you. They will not let you go. They are determined to bring you home.
So, where does that leave us? We've got these two powerful ways of looking at this psalm, the familiar, comforting one, and this new, challenging one. What's the big takeaway here?
Well, it seems the real power of Psalm 23 isn't a promise of an easy life. It's not a guarantee that you won't have dark valleys or enemies, or that you won't get pushed down paths you hate. The real power is the absolute, unshakable promise that the shepherd is right there with you through all of it, driving you when you need to be driven, defending you, and ultimately declaring his victory over you.
And that's why Pastor Bitterman says what he does. He concludes that Psalm 23 isn't a soft psalm. It's not a sweet lullaby to make us feel cozy. It's a battle cry. It's a warrior's anthem for anyone who's been driven through the fire and discovered that the shepherd was right there in the flames with them.
And that really leaves us with one final, challenging question to chew on. Is your shepherd's main job to make you comfortable or to make you holy? What if both the green pastures and the dark valleys are just different tools that he uses for the exact same purpose, to shape you, to transform you, for his name's sake?